So guys, we are down to the wire on the STI project car. It is at this point all done. It is completely back together. Aside for the front bumper cover, the new rear bumper cover, the ABS module, and the left-hand curtain airbag. I was mistakenly sent two right-hand curtain airbags, so I had to wait, or I'm having to wait, for the new left-hand curtain airbag, and I had to send out the airbag control module to get erased and reset for the deployments. The bumpers are actually in the paint booth right now, drying. Should have those ready for the car on Monday. And I think the airbags and the module will be back middle of next week, so this car should be complete Wednesday. Today's video, we're going to be talking about something that we saw when the car was in the body shop, and that was this wheel here. Looked funny, didn't look right. It looks like it's too far back this way, too big of a gap this way, and it looks like it's towed out. You really can't tell on video. You can hardly tell in person, but there's something definitely going on with this wheel back here. That's what we're gonna fix today. So let's go ahead and get into it. So guys, here is our issue right here. If you remember back to the original video where I looked the car over, the front control arm had a big scuff on the bottom of it on the driver's side. And I said, well, maybe they ran over something. Well, apparently they did run over something, and in doing so, they crushed and bent the rear lower control arm. So that is what we're gonna be replacing today. Luckily, I already inspected, found this, ordered the part from Subaru Parts Deals, and we're gonna go ahead and get this busted control arm off of here and get our new one on there, which should bring this rear wheel back into proper alignment, but we will be taking it to the alignment shop later to confirm everything is good with our four-wheel alignment. So let's go ahead and get to replacing this control arm before we lose our daylight. All right, now that we got the wheel off, you can really see the carnage of that busted control arm. It is really, really crushed up. So what we're gonna do now is get underneath there, and we're gonna take off our nut and bolt at the rear, the front, our shock mount, our sway bar mount, and we have the level sensor for the automatic headlight leveler. So here's our new control arm, or lateral link assembly. So these things can be a pain in the butt to replace. Mainly because they're kind of under tension with everything once you get them together. And you have to torque the bolts with the weight of the car on the suspension. So they're a little bit of a pain that way as well. So we'll just go through and whip everything loose. Should have brought a swivel socket. Yep, that's not gonna work. All right, easy part's over, getting the nuts off. Now to get the bolts out and get this arm off and then get everything to go back up in here, because it's always a pain. And you can really see now why that wheel was so towed out and why it was so hard to get that control arm out of there, being as twisted and mangled as it is. Let's go ahead and get this thing put back together with the new part and maybe go for a test drive since the car is all together now. All right, now comes the equally fun part, trying to get all this back in there, because these things have really fought me in the past, trying to get everything in and lined up, especially those sway bars. I'm really hoping that this piece of the subframe did not take a lick, and just eyeballing it, it looks like it's still straight. So hopefully it goes back together much more smoothly than it came apart. Can't really remember the order of operations here, which is supposed to go in first and whatnot. Oh no, we got her. There we go. There we go. Just gotta wedge this shock back into place. There we go. Now the painful child. This stupid sway bar end link. That's why those bolts are pointed on the end, so hot dog, got it all together. So now that this is the way it is, we'll just snug this stuff down. We'll put our wheel and tire back on there, and we'll let the car back down on the ramp so the weight is bearing down on this, and we'll take each nut off individually, put some Loctite on it, and do our final torque, and we will be good to go. Yep, that's looking a whole lot better. You know, I would like to go ahead and throw the new wheels on, but they're kind of locked up in my shipping container, and I don't feel like going and digging them out, so we'll save that for another day and another video. Definitely can't wait to go put some miles on this car. I mean, I think I bought it in November, and here we are in February. And haven't got the drive of it. So after all this time, effort, and money put into this car, you can definitely say that I'm excited to finally put some miles on it. So let's go ahead and put the weight of the car on the suspension and torque those up and be done. And yeah, that looks much, much better. We are more centered and we are no longer towed out. Again, extremely hard to show you on the video, but miles better. Of course, we saw how destroyed that old control arm was. All right, guys, here is where it becomes crunch time. Just because I'm scrunched up under the car. But we need to go ahead and torque the outer to 80 Newton meters, 85 Newton meters, 38 Newton meters, 7.5 Newton meters, and then 80 Newton meters on the inside. So let's go ahead and try to get this done without blocking the camera and without squishing myself too badly up under here. So we'll just start taking these nuts off, put a little Loctite on them. It's gonna be a pain to get in there. Because yeah, I looked at the owner's service manual and it does say one-time use only, because these have like a little crimp in the end of the nut where it's supposed to be like a lock nut. And once you take it, install it and take it off, it kind of takes that crimp away. So we're gonna chemically add that crimp back with some good old Loctite. So 80 is set on the torque wrench. Hopefully it fits in here. And it feels like it barely does. And we'll go ahead and tighten this joker down. And 80. Bump up to 85 for the shock mount. Again, we'll pull that off and add a little bit of old locker on there. And 85. We'll drop down to 38. Switch our size from a 17 to a 14 socket. Throw some thread locker on there. Now on these, instead of having the 3-piece crimp in, they're just kind of oblong, squished in the middle. So they're oval instead of round to make them a locking style fastener. And 38. We're gonna forego the micro torque wrench to torque that 7.5 Newton meters on the headlight leveler, and we're just gonna go and click. That ought to be good. And our last fastener here. Rinse and repeat. Torque again, 80 Newton meters on this one. Who knows why the inside and outside of the control arm or lateral link is torqued to 80 Newton meters, whereas the shock is torqued to 85. I'm sure they could have all gone to 85 and just made the torque specs easier, but who knows? An engineer knows, I'm sure, but otherwise, who knows why it is what it is. Do not forget to torque the lugs to 120 Newton meters. Where are you still free spinning? I impacted you. Sorry if I'm blocking the view of the camera, guys. There's only so much room under here. And done. Done torque our lug nuts and drive off the ramps. So guys, unfortunately videos are gonna be coming out of order. I did one on the seat belts and airbags, but because I didn't have that right curtain airbag and I had to send off the module and it's not back from programming yet, cannot share that video yet. So there we go. Control arm is replaced. Everything is good to go now. All we need are the bumpers, the curtain airbag, airbag module, and that stuff should all be here by next Wednesday. With that said, thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video. I'll see you all in the next one.